It was anxiety. My body was saying, warning, warning, no, don't go this way, shift lanes, cross the street. This is crazy coming. Hey, love. It is Phoenix Jacks again, and welcome to my YouTube channel, my podcast, or wherever you are receiving this message and this food. So, hey, let's talk. Let's talk. So, let me throw out a statistic for you all. 1 in 4 Americans are suffering with some form of mental illness, right? And furthermore, even a higher percentage are dealing with anxiety and depression at various stages of their lives. Now, I have a different view of where anxiety and depression comes from. And I say this from personal experience and from the experience of people that I've seen both near and far. But I had never felt anxiety as an adult until about 3 years ago. And I'm going to tell y'all a quick story. Let me give y'all a little tea. I met a guy, right? And my body started gyrating around him and I felt a little bit on fire and I felt a little like, oh my God, it wasn't butterflies. It was like my body was a little on fire and it felt unsettled. And I thought this was a sign that this person could be the one. Now, I have felt what it feels like to meet somebody who could be the one. I have felt that emotion of like my spirit just snatches in their soul and their spirit snatches in mine. And it just feels like, oh my God, what is that? I have felt that on a couple of occasions, but it was anxiety. My body was saying, warning, warning, no, don't go this way, shift lanes, cross the street. This is crazy coming. Cross the damn street. And of course, I didn't cross the street. I was like, oh my God, hi. I'm Phoenix. What's your name? Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I think so. And we started dating. And many months later, I realized, like, oh my God, my body told me when I first met this person that this was not it. The anxiousness that I felt was telling me that this wasn't it, and I wasn't listening. But then I was like, this is good because I now understood what anxiety felt like, because every time I was around that person, that fear and that energy kept creeping up. This person's vibrations were so misaligned with mine that it was causing my body anxiety just being in their presence. But because I hadn't felt anxiety as an adult and I didn't have remembrance of what anxiety felt like as a child, I didn't place it. Me and this person were truly misaligned. Now, let's put it back on ourselves. If you can feel this way being misaligned with a person, imagine how it feels being misaligned with yourself. If you're misaligned with yourself, you have an anxiety, you have depression, you're not being able to do that thing you want to do. There's artists out here right now who are brilliant artists. They bypass African design stealing Picasso. They bypass anything you've ever seen. They're the next Bisa Butler. They are phenomenal. And they can't do their work because they're having to pay their rent or pay their mortgage or have to go to a job every day that they hate to just live. They're not able to thrive in their oneness of their work. They're not able to serve the now. And serving the now is simply you being able to be present and do what you're supposed to do and what you need and desire to do in the now. They're not able to do that. So what happens? Depression creeps in, anxiety keeps in, the laziness kicks in, that procrastination kicks in, the falling behind starts to kick in because they're out of alignment with themselves. You're out of alignment with yourself, boo. A lot of life's issues can be solved if people just gave themselves the permission to do what the hell they wanted to do, or if they simplified their life enough to be able to do the thing that they want to do, whatever that is, right? If they release societal standards on living or being or doing and just stepped into what makes them feel good. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this. Like there's a lie that many of us carry, and it's quiet and it's constant, that oh my God, I'm lazy. I'm procrastinating. I am actually falling behind. But it truly is misalignment. It's not laziness. And the difference means the world. So let's name a lie a lie. We live in a culture that glorifies culture, the hustle culture. I hated that word. I hated grinding. I'm hustling. I would tell people at best I'm a sophisticated hustler. We're not hustling around here, and we're not seeking perfection because nothing's ever finished and nothing's ever going to be perfect. And we are not needing to do constant output. Interestingly enough, a lot of people's anxiety and depression disappeared during COVID. Some people's anxiety and depression increased, obviously, because of circumstances, but a lot of people's depression and anxiety decreased. Why? Because they weren't going anywhere fast anymore. In our world, we are going nowhere fast. And it shows itself in our consumerism. It shows itself in how we treat the planet. It shows itself in how we treat each other. It shows itself in how we communicate. It shows itself in every way, shape, or form. We are going nowhere fast. And because of this, we are beholding to a certain level of constant output, quantity versus quality. And that alone can drive anybody crazy. That alone can make you feel like you don't want to do a thing. That alone can cause depression and anxiety. So when we decide to shift the energy and move into our own state of alignment, it doesn't mean your drive disappears. It means it settles in a space that is doable for you, right? So think about it. When your energy dips, when your drive disappears completely and your motivation just goes off the face of the planet, what are the first things that we tell ourselves? Think about it. For me, I'm like, dang, I'm confused. I'm cloudy. I need clarity. That's usually for me. When I feel down, when I'm feeling uh, you know, lazy, just straight up lazy, I know that like I'm in misalignment. If I'm feeling lazy about something, that means I really don't want to do this. That means there's something misaligning about this work for me. So what do I need to do? I don't want you to take it upon yourself to be like, I'm not doing enough. I'm slacking. I need to push harder. I need to add on. I need to hustle and grind a little bit more. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be in this room. No. No. Cuz laziness is a symptom of the core issue. Laziness is a symptom that you are not doing what you are supposed to do, that you aren't serving the now. Because if you were serving the now, if you were showing up the way that your soul desired, ain't no laziness, B. There ain't no laziness. You know why? Because you're going to get extra energy you didn't even know existed. You ain't gonna be sleeping well because you're gonna be up excited about that new book that you're writing that you've been craving to write, or to paint that next piece of art, or to build this new business that you are so passionate about, or to run that nonprofit that fulfills a duty in humankind and it fulfills an issue that breaks your heart. You will get all the energy in the universe. You will be enthused with all the energy. Here's the truth: laziness is often just the body, the spirit, and the mind rejecting something that no longer fits into the makeup of who you are. Not because you're broken, but because you're unfolding, because you're waking up. And depression, anxiety is a sign that you're fighting the waking up. It's a sign that you're fighting. And laziness is just a symptom of the battle. All right. So, what does alignment look like? Let's talk about that. What does alignment look like? Misalignment is kind of subtle, but it's heavy and it happens over time. Where did that guilt come from that I'm carrying for having to tell somebody no so that I can service myself right now, so that I can serve my own now? And I realize it's ancient guilt, it's ancestral guilt. We are often taught that we have to use our bodies for the sake of other people. Our ancestors were using their bodies for the sake of other people for free. So, us being overworked, women, period, feminine labor, being overworked, overused, and usurped is something that is ancestral in us. And we live in a life now where we can choose. So, with our choice, when we choose against our better good, the laziness and the procrastination shows itself. So, I had to make a boundary to myself and to other people that if I'm not getting something clear out of something, I can't do it, because the purpose for me serving the now and the work that I have to do for the public far exceeds me having to do something for one person so that they can live their purpose. It's time for my own. I had to become aligned with my own self and my own vision. Does that make sense? So, misalignment can show up in your job, it can show up in your relationships, even in your walk and journey. And the longer you stay misaligned, the more you start confusing your survival self for your actual self. You start confusing that person who makes mistakes and that person who's lazy, that person who's tired, that person who's procrastinating. You start confusing that person for your authentic self, and they're not the same. That part of you that is showing itself when you're misaligned is not the same person. Y'all not the same person, boo. It's not the same person as a person that you would be if you were living within your alignment of what you're supposed to be doing or what you feel that you're supposed to be doing at this point in life. I don't want to use the word purpose because purpose is fleeting. Purpose is changing. We shouldn't be living lives thinking about what we can be, but more so how we can show up and who we can be to ourselves and others around us and to this planet. And that far exceeds purpose. That's just about the journey. That's about the journey. So the cost of staying misaligned is heavy. The cost of staying misaligned is not just simple burnout. The cost of staying misaligned is betrayal of the self. It's you putting everything else in these other circumstances in front of yourself. And self betrayal is heavy. Okay. And we all, on some level, probably have to forgive ourselves for our levels of self betrayal. But where you abandon your own needs for the comfort of others, you wear productivity like it's an armor on your chest, where you confuse being busy with being valuable, and your self worth is tied into what you do for others versus just who you are. You are worthy just because you are. You are here because you meant to come to this planet. And if you haven't heard anybody tell you, I'm telling you that. But listen, you don't have to live like that. You're allowed to change course. And as someone in my life a long time ago used to always tell me, we all have the right to change our mind. If something is truly not working, we have given it concerted effort, or if your soul knows that what you are involved in does not fit for you, you have the right and the duty to change your mind. Change it. You're allowed to pivot. There's power in the pivot. And you're allowed to pause and you are allowed to walk away. Okay? You're allowed to walk away. Your value is not in what you produce, it's in what you honor in yourself. That's what you value. So I got a question I want to ask you really quickly before we step on and I show you about how you can realign with yourself. I want to ask you something. What do you value about yourself? What do you honor about yourself? I want you to think about that. I honor my mind. One of my best compliments I tend to get from people is who know me personally, like who really know me, is that they love my mind. They love my brilliance. They love how I think. And I took a test, the Strengths Finders 2.0 examination many years ago when I was teaching at a university. And the test said that my top 5 strengths were strategy, intellection, communication, empathy, and connectedness. But intellection and strategy, yeah, I'm smart. I value that about myself. I value my mind, that I'm in sound mind. And no matter what trauma I've gone through, I've always come back to the sound mind and spirit that I am, because that's who I've always been. I was that when I could talk. I was that before I could talk and walk. So I want you to ask yourself that. What do you honor about yourself? And then I want you to go write that on a mirror somewhere. Get a marker. You can always use acetone or something or Windex to wipe it off. But I want you to go write on your mirror somewhere the word or phrase that is what you honor and respect and like about yourself. What do you appreciate about yourself? Next, so let's talk about how do we align. So first we just have to start getting honest with ourselves that we are misaligned. And in our last week's homework, I had you guys write down the 3 things in your life that feed you, that light you up. And I also had you write down the 3 things that drain you, that keep you exhausted, that keeps you performing with that mask that you're wearing. And then and then we talked about how can you amplify yourself and how can you start to release the things that don't work. Now, this isn't about quitting your job tomorrow or burning bridges. This is simply about awareness, because awareness is where alignment begins. So now that you've got some awareness with last week's homework, this week I want you now to jot down a couple of steps that you can do to reclaim some part of your existence and your life back. I want you to ask yourself, what is something today, like today, that you can do and start to implement into your daily practice and your journey that's going to get you back to a sense of self? It can be small. It can be, you know what? I'm going to make sure that every day I get up and make my bed, because I want, when I lay down, to feel like I'm laying down in a hotel room. I'm laying down in a freshly made bed. I want to prepare for my future self. I want to prepare an environment of comfort for my future self. It can be as simple as that, or it can be as complex as, you know what? I have enough in savings. My spouse's career is pretty set. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and step away from this role, or I'm going to spruce up my resume so that I can shift positions into something that feels more aligned with what I truly want to do right now. It could be something like that. But I want you to make a decision today, because when we decide something, the universe moves like water to manifest that and to make sure that it comes to the fore. So, what do you want to change about your now to get yourself into misalignment? And in closing, I want to remind you that you are not lazy, you are not weak, and you are not failing. There is no guide on what to do in life. Everybody's walk is different. Everybody's walk is unique. And everybody's walk will not be the same and should not follow the same mode of operandum, because your brain, your spirit, your body, the way you look, the way you show up, the way you talk, the way you walk, who you are, there's nobody else like you. So nobody's else reality is going to be as yours. It's just not. And that's okay. You are being called back to yourself and yourself only, to your own rhythm, your timing, your own self awareness, your own self love, your own personal truth. You don't need to push harder. Mm-mm. You need to come home to yourself. Let me know in the comments, what is one thing that you're ready to release and one thing that you're ready to reclaim? What is one thing that you're ready to reclaim? Or what is one thing you're ready to claim for the first time? And what are some steps you can do today to start inching towards that? Remember, the longer you wait to start aligning yourself, the longer your depression is going to last, the longer the symptom of the laziness is going to last, the longer the anxiety is going to last. And you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. Again, I am Phoenix Jackson, and let's keep unfolding together. I appreciate you for being here in love, in care, in reciprocity. Thank you.